Oh, 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 yeah, yeah. Having spent 23 years now in some of the poorest nations in the world, I've watched and learned a few things. And one of the things that happens is that particularly people in the Western world tend to look at the statistics, the dreadful statistics as far as death rates and human suffering, and it feels quite overwhelming. And it is, in many ways, overwhelming. And a story that helps me keep things in perspective is one I've heard years and years and years ago. There had been a big storm the night before. The heavy waves had washed the starfish up onto the beach.
Hey, my son, what are you doing? There are too many. You cannot save them all.
Yeah, I know that. There are too many.
It's not gonna make any difference.
But for this one, can make all the difference.
I find for myself that I've had to take each day, one day at a time, not all the paths there are, but what's in my path this day. And what can I do this day to make a difference in the life of someone else?
Very well, sir. Okay.
Oh, oh, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, oh, yeah, yeah.
So this woman, Christine, she has suffered with a disease called NOMA, which occurs when young children are malnourished, have not been vaccinated against diseases like measles, and within a week or so, an infection begins in their face, which at that moment is treatable with penicillin tablets and cleaning. But most of the time, they find themselves in places where they cannot get cleaning of their wound, and so in a period of about 2 to 5 days, large portions of the face, nose, cheeks are lost due to an infection. And in the case of Christine, this happened when she was 10 years of age. So she was left, when the infection finished, with these defects. 10 to 20% survived, so Christine is a survivor.
I'm Liz Esplan, and I come from Indiana, and I have been on the ship for almost 2 years now. I've always wanted to do medical missions, and I looked into different organizations and found Mercy Ships and fell in love. Went home, quit my job to see people healed that would never have otherwise been able to afford surgery is better than any money could ever do for me. The hospital here does very specific surgeries. It's not just a general hospital like many people often think, but we just focus on very specific areas. We fix cataracts in young children up to older adults to help them be able to see for the first time or just to improve their sight. We do plastics patients, which is burn patients all over their body and fixing contractures that happen. We also do max-fac surgeries, which is fixing tumors on the face and neck, as well as cleft lip and cleft palate. And that goes on throughout the whole year.
That's great, that's great. That's just coming out of your mouth.
We also do orthopedic surgeries, which fixes bones, and that can be deformities from childhood or things that they've acquired along the way. And we fix that mostly on children, but some adults also. And we also do VBF surgeries, and that's a surgery very specific to Africa. Many ladies here, if they have been in labor for a prolonged time, they will get a hole between their vagina and their bladder, and they will leak urine just constantly and be smelly, and that is what we are focusing on right now. And max-fac is the only surgery that goes on the whole year. All the other surgeries just happen at certain increments. Right now we're doing VBF surgery, and ladies are just so wonderful. Most of them have been through so much. Their families have disowned them, and they've just had such a rough life, and it's so cool to be a part of fixing them and making them dry.
For 3 days, I had a lot of pain. And after that, the doctor told me that if we didn't operate, I could die because my baby was already dead in my belly. And after that, I realized that I could not control my urination. As soon as I returned home, my husband left me. And the other people in the village mocked me. So I stayed home all the time.
It's important to understand fistula as one of the purest examples of a disease of poverty. If you look at the lifetime risk of dying in labor, for women born in Ireland, that's 1 in 47,600. For women in the countries of Sierra Leone and Liberia, it's 1 in 6. We're not talking about inconvenience, we're talking about death. And so one could think of it as a problem of human rights. Don't these women have a right to go through a normal body process without the fear of death? We need to do all that we can to build more centers, to do good prevention, but also training is so critically important in this area.
I'm pleased to report that in our field service in Benin in 2009, we have trained more than 40 healthcare professionals in several categories from not only Beninois, but also West Africa and Europe and the United States, as long as they had a commitment to serve in Africa. So in the future, our numbers may come down just a little bit, but as we're training more local surgeons, bringing them on board to help them increase their skill, not just the surgeons, but the nurses, their administrative hospital staff, the lab technicians, the whole team, we will see far more of the poor served through this training model.
After some ladies have had their catheter out and they are dry, we will have what we call a dress ceremony, and this is where we have a dress made for them. We do their makeup and just make them feel really special and really pretty, as if they're starting over. They're starting a new life now that they're dry. Many of the tumors and problems, even infections that we see here in Africa, have just gotten way out of hand. In Western cultures, they would have had antibiotics or injections or even surgeries when the tumor was very, very tiny, and it would not be a big deal. But here, because of the lack of medical care and oftentimes the lack of finances, they're unable to get treated, and so the tumor just has a chance to grow and grow and grow, and that's why people often die from something that we would consider small and insignificant. For them, they can't get treated, and it becomes life-threatening. Koku is actually one of the max-fac patients that we have on the ward right now. He came in with a large jaw tumor, and Dr. Leo actually operated on him just a few days ago. So he is on B ward, recovering and doing well. So hopefully he'll be able to have a second surgery and get a strong jaw and go home a new person.
How are you? Great. Can I just have a look inside your mouth? Okay, just open. Wow, that's all healed up inside. This skin is a bit sagging, excessive skin, but the tumor has gone. You can eat and drink slowly, right, because you don't have any teeth in there, okay? When you come back next year, we will borrow some hip bone. Put the hip bone and put it around the metal plate, because you got a metal plate all the way here. Fantastic. I hope you have a bright future. Bonjour. Okay.
Ça va?
Before the surgery, her eye was right up there and a lot further forward. So you're doing well. Can you say to her she's doing very well? Well done.
My family lost hope and we don't have money to go to any hospital. So I'm thanking Mercy Ship that if not Mercy Ship, maybe today I would have been dead and no one will even know of me.
Sometimes we'll have patients come to the ship to get surgery, and we can start helping them, but they'll still need help afterwards. For example, a woman named Afi came to the ship, and she just had a huge, huge tumor. And in her case, it was so big that we could not remove all of the tumor at one time. So she is coming back now for daily dressing changes until the ship leaves. And then she will come back in Sierra Leone through a special fund to finish her surgery. At the beginning of the year, one of the first surgeries that we started off doing was orthopedic surgeries, and that lasted a few months. And usually if we see bowed legs or club feet, and sometimes just deformities in their legs from other circumstances. For example, Abel was one of the patients that we had for quite a long time this year, and he came to us with really funny looking legs.
My legs were not straight, so I needed an operation.
And that was caused when he was younger. He had injections in both of his legs, and it caused his quad muscles to atrophy, and that's what caused his legs to grow in such a disfigured way. We were able to do surgery on him, and he will probably never be able to bend his legs completely, but now his legs look more normal and straight. And now he's actually able to walk around without crutches and just looks like a completely different guy. When he got to go home, some of the Mercy Ship's crew got to go with him. He was hiding behind this new camera. So it's kind of funny him taking pictures of them when they would probably be the ones taking pictures of him because he looked so drastically different.
I have nothing to be able to thank you, but I am so very happy.
I'm CMO from Monrovia, Liberia. Yeah, and I serve as a translator for 2 years with the dental team, and I later became crew and serving as an assistant dental coordinator. Mercy Ship also train and provide additional skills to some local doctors. Last year in Benin, Mercy Ship has a series of off-ship programs like the project of construction, where Mercy Ship built a house that should be used for future orthopedic center, and of course the School of Agriculture. Mercy Ship is really making a great impact in West Africa, not only through medical services. Now, there are a lot of off-ship programs that Mercy Ship provides in Togo. Like I mentioned, physiotherapies, hospitality center, palliative care, and the dental clinic. This is the dental clinic.
In Switzerland, we make aesthetic dentistry, we make beautiful work, we rebuild teeth, and here we just have to pull teeth to fight against infections, to fix broken jaws. So it's a very, very hard work we do, and we just try to get rid of pain. In fact, in West Africa, people, they suffer of teeth and they die of rotten teeth. It's a shame in this world.
Thank you to everyone who is a part of the larger team of Mercy Ships.